course, for those who don't know me, my name is Evelina Sinkevičiūtė, and I'm operational marketing project manager here at Teltonika Networks. And also today with me on this webinar, I have very special guests. It's Martin from Bondix and Sylvia from Bondix. So could you please say a little hi to our audience?
Hi to the nice audience from Teltonika. Hi, I'm Martin, Director of Sales of Business and Business Development from Bondix, and I'm very thankful to be here today and show you some nice insight what we can do for you.
Sylvia, would you like to say hi?
Hi from me too. I'm responsible for all things marketing at Bondix Intelligence, and I will try to answer all of your questions today, if I can.
Yes, sure. Sylvia will help us today during this webinar for answering your questions in a Q&A window. She will be trying to drop her knowledge and her insights if you have some questions during the webinar. As well, we will also have a Q&A session dedicated to answer those questions face-to-face to you during after the whole speech with Martin. So do not hesitate to ask those questions. We are always happy to answer them. So I see more or less people have joined, so I think it's a good time to start the webinar, to value your time. We will try to fit in this quite tough schedule before Christmas period. So when is the right time to begin this webinar? Today's topic is very important and interesting one. We will discussing how Bondix solution can be beneficiary in those industrial IoT applications. And to begin here, and first of all, to understand the scope of the whole industrial IoT solution and why we talk about this continuous improvement on industrial solutions, we need to look at some data. It's natural. So first of all, it's expected to finish 2022 with more than 14 billion actively connected devices around the globe. Yeah, it's a huge number, right? So it's also not surprising that in 2022, the number of those devices is expected to reach up 27 billion devices. So when we look to those IoT adopters, here we have a clear movement from those legacy 2G, 3G to advanced IoT solutions like 4G and 5G options. So according to the data source Accenture, 4G IoT connection grew by 24% because of the higher adoption of various LTE categories, for example, LTE Cat 1, Cat 4, Cat 6, and so on. So it allowed, for example, for LTE Cat 1 to took over the legacy machine-to-machine communications instead of a 2G or 3G options where speeds are not required. So why is that? Why is that? It's the main question here. So when the top drivers among industrial IoT growth is and includes operational efficiency, productivity optimization, and of course, reduction in downtime. So all of this that has been said can be really summarized into a very short note. Data loss, turned off devices, and surprises of those connection lost things are not the world we want to live in and do business in. I will just stop a little bit here. I see some comments that people cannot hear. Just to confirm if you are hearing and the sound is all right, just for a minute. Okay, it's okay. Okay, so not stopping here anymore. So basically, productivity, optimization, and reduction in downtime is our way forward to those industrial IoT applications. And with constantly rising industrial markets, adoption is quite divided among different, I would say, purposes of why we do that. So according to Statista data source, monitoring, automation, optimization, controlling were the most widely adopted and allowed by connectivity devices. And here, We also very eager to know what is the main driver of your industrial IoT solution. So I am dropping a short poll here in a chat window for you to answer. So by the whole time of the webinar, you can answer to this question. And of course, me and Martin will love to discuss your answer and this poll after the webinar during the Q&A session. So, Martin, I'm heading to you, to your part. It's time to give our audience a brief look to the same solution, to overlook how Bondix software is beneficial here. So I'm moving to your part, I guess, yes?
Awesome. Thank you, Evelina. First of all, can everybody hear me also loud and clear, just to be sure? Before we start. Okay, I see at least one. Oh, never saw so many thumbs up for my presentation. Awesome. So I say thanks again for the chance to have another option to present how Bondix Sane can improve the functionality and the capabilities of your Teltonika products. Just to get started, because I don't know if everybody knows exactly what we are doing, so we just summed it up a bit, Sane in a nutshell. So what is Sane? Sane stands for Simple Aggregation of Networks. So this means with Sane, you can add real WAN aggregation and bonding functionality to existing Teltonika devices. And as I mentioned, it's versatile. It can be installed on many supported Teltonika devices, from the small industrial router to the big and powerful ROT50. We have you covered on all Teltonika products. And what we bring to the mix is real bonding of WAN connections. And what is also an important point, you can still continue use your already established and probably certified existing VPN infrastructure, which you are already trusting, which is supported by your Teltonika router. Here I have to add an update. Also, Zane is now supporting a special encrypted mode, which I will show you in a couple of seconds in the demo. But for now, you have the choice. And this is what we love at Bondix. We will always give you the choice to pick the best possible hardware together with your trusted environment. Can you please go to the next page, Evelina? So just to give everybody a quick and brief management overview, what is bonding, yeah, and what does bonding do? So what you see here is a typical setup. Yeah? So how does it look? So on the from the left side. So can you go to the next page, please? So we will start on the left. So on the left, this is your Teltonika router. This Teltonika router is running a Sane client for his specific model. With that same client, you will establish a tunnel to your server. Your data is distributed over the available links depending on your settings. So this is what I will show you later too. And all these data are sent to that tunnel over the multiple WAN links available on your Teltonika router. You might now say, hey, I have a Teltonika router with only one Ethernet. How can I benefit from that? One Ethernet uplink. You can add another Teltonika modem or another Teltonika router to the mix to easy upgrade an existing, probably Ethernet only infrastructure. Can you please go to the next slide? So then the WAN bonding does its magic. It will bond your traffic and your connections to a reliable wider broadband connection. And then please go to the next slide. Then all your data gets reassembled by a Sane server. And of course, it's not a hardware and nothing you need to buy from us. It's a software you can easily install in your own infrastructure in a couple of minutes, or you can work with one of our trusted suppliers or distributors who are offering this as a server. And from there, of course, it can be either go to the internet and also to your probably VPN endpoint. So this was in a nutshell, just covering what WAN bonding is. Of course, I can talk hours about this because we are doing this at Bondix since over 10 years, but I think everybody should have now to at least have an idea what WAN bonding is and how it works. We can go to the next slide, Evelina.
Yes, I will just interrupt a little bit here because,
Mhm.
Martin, from all that you have been said here, it's pretty clear that Bondix have really a big advantage of those output sensitive applications where you need to push for example, a lot of high quality videos, other data streams. And the value of Bondix is pretty much clear for those, live streaming solution as well, mission critical communication without interruption, marine, retail, public safety options, and much more. Um, so I think it's time to head how Bondix can be utilized in that industrial IoT, and I'm wondering to know. Hope our audience as well, in those areas where especially externally exposed areas where the device connectivity device as our router or gateway whatever cannot solve those latency or bandwidth issues just by standing alone.
Mhm. So thank you. So as you mentioned, thank you for that nice introduction and this good question. So yes, of course, bonding is normally widely used in the area to streaming, bandwidth aggregation, high bandwidth application. But I think what we see in industrial IoT nowadays is we have basically three different fields where IoT can benefit from bonding. First of all, we have uptime and SLA. So you need to increase the reliability of your connection. Doesn't matter if it's a production plant, if it's an utility station, is it an energy park, a wind park? Uptime is the key. You need to have full control all the time about your environment. Then we also have latency. Latency, what do you mean with latency? Latency keeps your connection usable. So what you want to be able to to interact with your devices and your devices in the field as smooth as possible. And last but not least, also bandwidth aggregation plays a role in the IoT world. Yeah? Not in the same way like in the high bandwidth areas, but we have cases like rural sites or remote sites where bandwidth aggregation could be the key to enable new applications. We can go to. So let me just have a quick look onto carrier SLA, because a lot of you guys say, hey, we have a fiber connection, we have a fixed line connection, and we have an SLA from the carrier. Okay, you have an SLA, but what is an SLA? It's basically a promise of availability. It does not guarantee you anything. Yeah. Well, so in Germany, I digged around, and you can see the single fixed line in Germany, even if it's a fiber, you get an SLA from your carrier of 98.5%, which can cause up to 130 hours of downtime. Yeah? And no one says that this will happen, but you can't exclude it from the mix. And of course, if you're relying on mobile only, the SLA is far worse. We are below 80%. So mobile only connections with a single carrier suffer even more. What I will show you now today, also in our demo, is the second case, which we say, okay, I have a fixed line connection which might be low bandwidth, and I have an LTE connection in my Teltonika router. How can I increase my SLA with it? And just by adding a SANE to the mix, you will be able to get an SLA of 99.6. So you were able to reduce your theoretical downtime by at least around about 100 hours per year. And then, of course, you can go really a little bit over the top, probably using two ROTX 12 because you have a very challenging scenario and you can't deal with any downtime. Then use the 2x bonding stain option, and then you can even get astonishing 99.99.5%, which results in a theoretical downtime of less than 30 minutes per year. We are always talking about 365 days, 24/7. So this is the way you should see the SLA of your carrier. Now the question is, why wasn't this done in the IoT world in the past? Because every application will benefit from a better SLA. Yeah, because it was not possible, because there was no vendor who were able to deliver you industrial grade hardware quality, a wide range of devices fitting for that specific need, but also adding bonding on top of it to the mix. Thank you.
Yeah, I also counted in my mind regarding that SLA for cellular connections that if it's like around 80%, it's also, the downtime is like 1,007 hours could reach. It's a huge number as well. It's the thousands in a money perspective as well. If we are in production or manufacturing or et cetera, et cetera. So it's very interesting, and we are, I think, moving on here to once move.
Exactly. So what you see here, for example, so uh, this is how latency in general works. So latency means the time how long your packages are traveling between your location and your remote location and your server or your headquarter. So of course you always take in mind that you have latency in both directions. And this is in general a very challenging environment for bonding. And we are really proud at saying that we are at Bondix, that we are able with SANE, we are even able to deliver you satellite and LTE bonding, which really works, which can be used in remote areas and basically is can cut your latency and response time into half, at least to send your command. So this is an important point, and of course we will see it in the demo. Even if you use WAN bonding with SANE, your latency stays as low as possible and your application will run as smooth as possible.
Yeah, so here let's move on to the use cases, because use cases is the best way to illustrate all of that has been said before. And here at this predictive maintenance use case, we have a scenario of embracing and implementing those maintenance solutions. So basically, probably you know that such solutions combine smart sensors for various alerts, of course, also data collection to optimize the maintenance regularly of the whole manufacturing equipment. So where is the catch here? So well, predictive maintenance solutions requires all the parts to communicate without interruptions, no matter of the location, cellular signal, or any other factors like cables or your location. So the need for a network connectivity device here that is capable of delivering robust and guaranteed connection stability is a must here. So basically we are having route 241 here that is a perfect fit here, a small but durable LTA Cat4 router with one SIM card and two Ethernet ports that can be easily, of course, integrated in already existing infrastructure. So while Teltonika remote management system at the end of this topology, you can see also allows reaching the machine's PLC, sending alerts, and all of that high quality remote capabilities. Uh, there is a catch, and bonding here can help us to improve the solution. So I want you, Martin, to elaborate here, because we can also see that in already developed infrastructure, we have, for example, some IoT gateway already implemented here that is also connected, but maybe it wasn't that capable of sending alerts or whatever. So um, how we can elaborate here with the bonding?
Very good point. So what you see here could be a typical scenario of a predictive maintenance or remote side of a machine or industrial area. So what could be the case, for example, you have a fixed line at that location, but that fixed line is quite unreliable or is small, has only offers small bandwidth. So you are limited in terms of bandwidth. Yes, you can add LTE to the mix, but if you're using standard load balancing and no bonding, a single application cannot benefit from the aggregated bandwidth of both of your links if needed. Or in other words, if you are using LTE with the fixed line and said, okay, then I will switch to the LTE all the time, you get an issue in terms of reliability and of course way higher data costs in general compared to a fixed line alone. And now Sane will bring you the best of both worlds, so you can rely on your fixed line connection, but basically juice it up and secure it with the additional LTE connection, but be as patient with your mobile data as possible. So only use mobile data if it's absolutely needed and if your application needs definitely more bandwidth on that location.
Yeah, and I think we are moving on since we started to elaborate those bandwidth aggregation things. So Martin, what have you say here?
Yeah, so this is when I say bandwidth aggregation, as I mentioned, you might not need that if you have a utility station in the middle of Vilnius or in the middle of a town, but I think most of the wind parks or solar energy parks or remote farming sites, anything, are not as well connected as you might need it. You need a strong internet connection to either send over important data, measurement, control data, but also have the option to interfere in terms if there is an incident, if there is an alarm, without sending people out there. So the need for WAN bonding, if it fits into your industrial case, is everywhere what we see right now.
Yeah, and I would like to add a little bit here from our side, from Teltonika side, that when often we are helping our clients to choose the right connectivity device, for their solution, our goal is to help the client, to deploy the best performance at a reasonable cost, and of course, that is dedicated for this specific scenario. So basically, it means the right interfaces, for example, if they need serial one or just Ethernet ports, of course, device functionality and performance capability. On the other hand, there is, that dark side. We are also highlighting that no matter, for example, that LTA categories are extremely flexible technologies. There are many external factors like your internet provider, a location you are based in, how far from the tower you are, what cable you are using, and of course, network occupancy, and much, much more external factors and circumstances, no matter how industrial and robust and professional the device is itself. So basically, some additional software capabilities of Bondix can be really beneficial here. And moving on to the use case, we have one from smart agriculture sector. Um, so basically, this smart agriculture sector itself helps to gain productivity in the sector, and it's highly growing market. Um, Industrial IoT market of agricultural solutions is emancipated to grow, I think, and reaching almost like $7 billion by 2025. So smart farming is actually becoming widely adopted. And here we have that modern cow feeding with a wireless management system solution. So when you have a small farm, the feeding process it's pretty clear and simple, but while the huge farm in some remote and rural location, then feeding process becomes really complicated than just giving bunch of the grass to your cows. So intelligent feeding systems helps to calculate the ratios and to track the amount of food that has been given to each of your animal, and ensures that the whole system operating smoothly. So in this particular use cases, uh, where poor internet coverage is happening because of that location, is really a challenge. So in this use case, we are seeing, I will just turn the laser, we are seeing the wagon here, which is attached to the tractor, which is automatically dispenses the food when it goes around. So weight sensor is directly connected to our LTE dual 6 Cat6 industrial cellular router Rutix 12. And this router is capable of two simultaneous working LTE connections. In addition to Rutix 12, it also provides a stable Wi-Fi connection to those mobile devices used by the farmers inside of the tractor to oversee and to manage the sophisticated, I would say, feeding process via developed app or just a landing page. So while from connectivity part everything seems very right and logical here, there are those many challenges of remote location, of uh, low bandwidth, where bonding solution can be really a life-saving option here, right, Martin?
Yeah, so you mentioned already a very good case with the feeding, but it doesn't stop there. The big farming machines becoming more intelligent. We are now seeing projects where you also even want to have a completely automated machine in the future doing this. What does it require? It requires a good and reliable uplink under any circumstances. And as you mentioned, Evelina, normally on your field in the rural area, you do not have the cell tower 500 meters away from you. So you need to grab everything you can get. So this was a perfect example how this IoT connectivity will blend in and will come even more important also in agriculture fields. And just take in mind a big farming machine. We are talking about an investment of hundreds of thousands of euros you are using here in general. Yeah? And compare this to the compare the low investment for a quality Teltonika device with the same software on it. So to ensure the full capability and you're able to use the full capability of your machine and your industrial park.
Yeah. Right. So I think use cases we have been discussing were truly important and interesting ones, but you promised some demo, right, Martin?
Absolutely, absolutely. Because to everybody, thank you for not getting too tired and still staying in that call. It's awesome that I have 50 people watching. So great, awesome. So I prepared a little demo today. So Sylvia, my colleague, just shared a little link for a Twitch site. So I would recommend everybody to open that link. You do not need to log into Twitch in a second browser window to get the full experience for the demo. So I will give everybody a couple of seconds before I switch to my second screen. So let's paint a picture for you. So you have a very remote site somewhere in the middle of nowhere, and this remote site has some kind of connection, an Ethernet connection. And let me now show you how you can improve this site and the connectivity with a real use case. So let me just share my screen. I hope everybody now has at least opened that little Twitch link in a different browser. So hopefully everybody can see my screen. So, and let me just walk you quickly what you see on that screen. So on the upper left corner, we see a Windows terminal window where I will send constant pings through our Bondix chain connection. Let me just start that for you already. So here we have data going over our connection. On the right side, you see a Teltonika router web interface you also might be all quite familiar with. And in this Teltonika router, this router has Bondix Zane installed. And just to paint the picture a bit better about our use case, what you see here, this router has two WAN connections. One connection, this is now WAN connection number one, is an Ethernet connection, has 3 megabit uplink and 10 megabit downstream. The second one is an external LTE modem, also connected to that router, running in standby or in failover mode or in bursting mode to improve the connectivity. So, and what we also have, we have, of course, an encrypted tunnel because it's an industrial application. So security is key. So when you look then what's going on that site, we see our nice in the system integrated monitor, which shows you exactly what's going on your links of your router. And what you can see here, there is not a big application running. We have this team viewer stream going from that location. This is my shared video here at my shared picture, my shared desktop at the moment. We have that ping constantly going through that tunnel. And from time to time, you see a little bit traffic on the second line but just to make sure that the second line is there. But our main traffic runs over the main line. But now we have recently installed a camera system on that side to be able, if there is an alarm, that we get a full HD video picture. But do you know, full HD video will require more than 3 megabit of that link. So what will happen if now we get an alarm, and probably everybody has opened the Twitch link and they will see the attack of a wild animal coming in front, starting to attack you. So as you can see here, so the wild animal which we have spotted around our wind farm is basically attacking you, so it's greeting you. And what you can also see here, only now, because we are now requiring more than 3 megabit of upstream, our LTE gets activated and gets bonded into the connection. But you know, we have another issue, because our Ethernet line, as soon as we're pushing it quite hard, our Ethernet line gets unreliable and drops out from time to time. So let's drop out that line. So even now during our stream, our Ethernet line got interrupted again. But as you can see, our video, our application still flows as smooth without any interruption. Yes, we had a little bit of increased ping times, but now our Ethernet comes back. It will be automatically bonded together with the connection, and hopefully you had an uninterrupted stream so far. And as soon as we saw, okay, this is this nice golden cat that comes along our wind park every time, we will just stop the streaming of the camera. And now magic happens again. We will now fall back to our existing cheapest internet connection. Our LTE stays just in standby to be able to get into the mix again if needed. And now, hey, we made a ping during our call, and I also pulled some strings here, some lines. Let me just stop the counting here. Oh, I need to go in the right window. So here we are. So, oh, this was during our call. What you see here, it's in German. So if not everybody is able to read German, let me translate it. It means packet sends 236, receive 236, lost 0, average latency of that connection 28 milliseconds. We had one spike, of course, when we pulled the connection once, but we lost not a single package. Not a single package of your valuable data is gone. Everything works fine. And again, if that crazy cat comes again, let me just put the ping again. Of course, we will be able to get back and enable to stream or the application and benefit from the higher bandwidth at any time. So I hope at least that this live presentation gave some of you some ideas what we are doing and how bonding could also boost your application. Evelina, please, your turn again. You're muted. You are muted, Evelina.
Sorry,
Now you
sorry.
are back.
I didn't want to interrupt your demo, so I mute myself. So basically, we just made some illustration of the whole possibilities of bonding in industrial IoT. Um, Actually, there are many more use cases, and to give you a better scope of that, of course, we cannot do 3 or 4 hour webinars to introduce all of the possible use cases. So basically, it can be utilized in very various scenarios, from smart metering, smart grid, of course, solar parks, yeah, wind parks, remote manufacturing facilities, smart buildings, and many, many, many more. So you need just to remember that all of this can be utilized in your particular solution. So let's just discuss here, I think, Martin, yes, because every solution requires personal utilization and personal insights of how it can be improved with Teltonika devices and bonding. And I know you have very good insight here to finish, Martin. Yes?
Yeah, absolutely. So, of course, I could only give you a short example. And I know not everybody of you guys are doing video streaming anything, and not everybody needs high bandwidth. But for the first time in the industrial world, we are now able to bring together with Teltonika this functionality, even in areas like smart building or fleet management, anything where it was not economically useful to use WAN bonding in the past because there was no vendor offering this in a competitive environment with all the functionalities you need. And for the first time, and I'm doing this business since, let's put it together, WAN bonding 12, 13 years. So for the first time in my 13 years career in this specific market, we saw now that we are now able to bring all the benefits to that IoT market, to the IoT projects, but only together with the help of a very good and very powerful manufacturer. And as we say at Bondix, it's always a pleasure to sit on the shoulder of giants. So thank you, Teltonika, for having us and giving us the chance to improve our products together.
Oh, thank you, Martin. Thank you, Martin. It was a very nice and touching, of course, finishing thoughts. So we hope you enjoyed. We are not likely to take any more of your time during this webinar. So we hope you have some questions. So we will stay here for a couple of minutes here. If there are some questions, so I'm opening the Q&A window. So there are no questions at the moment. So we will just wait because maybe some people are writing. I hope you enjoyed. So do not hesitate. Contact our sales teams to elaborate on your solutions and how it could be improved. By that time, I'm seeing any information on pricing. So basically, I think it goes to the bonding side, to your solution. I think in last webinar we had a quite a comprehensive price analysis of your solution. So basically, we could write it down, or you just want to add a short comment.
We have just launched a new website with all this information. So everyone who is interested, please visit bondixintelligence.com licenses. Here you have an overview over the different license types we have. So it starts for the IoT market. The license price, including the server image, starts as for single license, starts at 59 euros per year, which is not much. It gets your you can host your own server, but also you can get you get a new section on our website where to buy, which lists all our partners and distributors, which then can also give you specific bulk offers for more license. Or if you want to become a reseller or a distributor from Bondix Zane, you're already a successful Teltonika distributor, reach out to us. Let's have a chat. Yeah? I think we are in the beginning, so we are small, but with your help, we will get big very, very quick.
And also we have a few technical questions. First one is, how much of the difference in latencies can Sane cope with?
Let's put it this way, how much difference in latency your application can cope with. So there are some applications where a big difference of latency makes no sense. So if you're doing a live video conference and you have a 50 millisecond LTE and an 800 millisecond satellite, mixing both connections will not give you a very impressive result in a normal way, because there are laws of physics. If you have to wait 10 times for some packages to arrive, you might have a stuttering picture. But in general, what you can do in such a scenario, you will use the low bandwidth connection for sending requests, getting the data over the satellite. So there is no fixed boundary. Yeah? It all depends, what are you using, what is your use case, what do you want to try to achieve. For example, if you only want to download and upload big packages of data to a site, you can, of course, bond the LTE with the satellite. But if we would do a video conference, you would then rely on one of the links and use the other one as fallback.
And to finish this webinar, I think we have really good question to fill all of those dots. So there is a question: what is the advantage of Bondix over WAN optimization solution?
So what's the biggest advantage? Yeah, because the biggest advantage is that you can just install it in a couple of minutes on a lot of existing Teltonika routers. You can put it on an add-on, as an add-on. You don't need a specific hardware. You can also add the Teltonika router as your WAN bonding device, as Evelina mentioned, to already existing installations where you have a gateway from a third party and you want to improve the connectivity with the help of Teltonika. It's the world only platform agnostic and hardware agnostic bonding solution, which does not require any additional hardware. You do not need to trust any other vendor or buy expensive devices. Just tune up your existing Teltonika infrastructure.
Okay, so I think all of the questions has been answered here. So I'm really thank you, Martin, for your meaningful insights on how it could be used, how it could be utilized. So I'm really thank you for all of you to gather here at this webinar. I hope you found it useful. For sure, we will add this recording of the webinar to the YouTube channel in a few days after. So I wish all of you to have the good day. Of course, the weekend is coming soon, so enjoy all of the Christmas period, all of the Christmas spirit that is circling around us. So for you too, Martin, have a great day. Thank you for being here with me, and see you in future in future webinars.
Thank you for having me and Sylvia. And last but not least, look at our LinkedIn page. We have a nice Christmas present for all our customers. So check out LinkedIn of Bondix, become a follower, and benefit from our early Christmas present. Have a nice day,
Okay.
guys.
Okay, I really like the presents. I will go to check in.
Cool.
Cool. Bye bye for all
Bye
of us.
bye, all.